All right, we still in that 15-minute window because I'm still a newcomer to this YouTube stuff. So every video I have to keep under 15 minutes. So let's get back to Kieda. Like I was saying, I think that by the time Pitbull realizes he's getting hit, Kieda will be back out of the pocket and circling the cage. So give me Kieda, but the line isn't where it needs to be. I'm going to have a same fight parlay for that one on Patreon because I'm not comfortable throwing multiple units on Kieda. So if you want to see that, like I said, it's a week free trial. You could just sign up at Bird Dog MMA on Patreon, see what I'm betting from the week, and then move on, right? Then we have a few more fights. We have Balojai, sorry, pardon my French. Balaji Oki versus Mason Jones. All right, Oki had nice timing on his count. He does have nice timing on his counter right hand. I saw that in film. He has good distance control and footwork, and he has very strong leg kicks. He has no problem throwing ones, twos, and leg kicks, and if his opponent doesn't push the pace, he's chilling. He could do that for a million rounds if he wanted to. He has strong takedown defense, and a lot of what it looked like, his strong takedown defense is due to his strength. It's not necessarily due to his technique, but he does have heavy hips, it looks like, and when somebody shoots on him, he drops that hip into the ground and he kicks his feet back very quickly, and he's able to get that crossface in. So you could tell he has some technique, but a lot of it, you could tell he's usually the stronger man in a lot of his fights. His wrestling looked good against an accredited Penn State wrestler in Timmy Kwamba. Timmy Kwamba was shooting on him, and he did very well in the exchanges there, and the scrambles, getting back to his feet. And in the third round, eventually Kwamba just gave up on the wrestling, and Oki was able to just keep piecing him apart for a decision win. And here's the thing about Mason Jones. His head movement, it's not ideal. All right, I always try to respect the fighters, but his head movement isn't ideal. He likes to crash the pocket with a flurry of punches, and none of his punches are pipes down the middle. They're kind of looping punches. He does do a good job cutting the cage off, but his hand speed does look slow. He got dropped by Ludovic Klein rushing in with his chin in the air, almost like Brenson Ribeiro. He is a tough, gritty fighter, which we love, but his cardio doesn't necessarily match his pace, right? He sets a really good pace, but almost always late in the second to the third round, he always looks gassed at times. And that's usually due to his own pace. If his opponents don't melt, third round, both of his opponents are exhausted. Him and his opponent are exhausted, I mean. He does do a good job at getting the fight to the mat, but he struggles to keep it on the mat. There's a chance he could push the pace against Oki and wear him out, but due to the lack of hand speed and head movement, I know there's a chance where he takes Oki down for multiple rounds, but I think Oki is going to be stronger. I think Oki has enough defensive grappling to get the fight back to the feet. And if he can continue to do that over the course of 3 rounds, I do see a scenario where Mason Jones is starting to get weathered. He's starting to get tired. And Oki is really good at finding that counter right hand. He has really good straight right hands down the middle. And that is something that you saw in film that is Mason Jones' weakness because he comes at you. He wants to throw a flurry of punches to distract you in order to get into the clinch or in order to shoot a takedown. But Belogi is actually a pretty good counter striker where he can keep his eyes on the prize. And when Mason Jones rushes in, I do see a scenario where he could get caught. So the KO is there. Plus, Oki is an underdog. There's a lot of spots to bet him. Yeah, I do like Oki in this situation. Mason Jones, he did get cut because he is a grappling heavy approach, all that, and he did look good after he got cut, which he deserves to be in the UFC after. But yeah, I think there's holes in his game that Oki has the ability to expose. So I'm gonna go Balaji Oki. Then we got Modestus Bukalskis versus Paul Craig. Bukauskas is good on the outside and enters quickly with a flurry of punches. He has good high kicks, but he can be low output. We all know he has really good jiu-jitsu, but he's really, really bad at wrestling, which is the issue and has always been the issue with Paul Craig. If he can get the fight to the mat, he's really good, but he really struggles to get the fight to the mat, and that's usually because of his strength, because of his explosiveness, and his lack of just wrestling ability. His double legs, his single legs, his shots aren't really the best. He kind of puts his head down and just tries to start running, but he doesn't get the hand behind the knees, and he usually just ends up pushing his opponent against the cage where his shoulders at their hips, and he's not able to suck the opponent back and get it to where he needs to be. So he usually tries to clinch with his opponent and then pull guard. And if that doesn't happen, that's really easy to defend against. You saw that when he was fighting Volkan Ozdemir. I think if he's not able to do that, it's another situation where he's just a sitting duck on the feet. All right, he's fighting at 205, not 185. This means his wrestling will especially be ineffective, in my opinion. He freezes up, too, when he gets hit. So if he's not able to pull guard and get this fight to the mat, he's going to end up getting hit and freeze up. It's almost like when he gets hit, he freezes up and closes his eyes and just is like, all right, when he's done, I'm going to get him back. So I could easily see a Bukowski's KO because he does like enter the pocket very quickly. He hits you with a flurry of punches, then he backs out. But he's also low output when he's not doing that, and he'll choose to do that a few times around. He also has serviceable grappling. You saw that in his fight versus Marcin Pracknell. And just like I said earlier, if he stays away from Craig's guard, he should be fine. Just stay at range, keep popping him. Craig is chinny lately, and I can see a knockout here. I do like Bukowski's side, but we're going to have to get a little creative betting him, which we do have the whole script in. Then we got two more fights. We got Benoit Saint Denis versus Mauricio Rofi. Okay. I've never been on the BSD bandwagon. I'll be completely honest with you. Even when he was winning fights and everybody kept repeating the fact a million times a day that he was a French paratrooper, I still wasn't on the bandwagon. I just didn't see what everybody else was seeing. I wasn't overly impressed with the grappling ability or the striking. I think his hands can be a bit slow. I think he struggles to keep opponents down after takedowns. I think his head stays on an absolute line, straight line, waiting to get hit. I tried finding an angle to take the dog here because I'm also not on this Fighting Nerds bandwagon, honestly. I like what they're doing. I respect their talent, but it's almost like a little bit too soon at the moment. And UFC fans, they're fickle. They will jump on any bandwagon that they can. It's the weirdest fan base in all of sports. But without that being said, I think Rufy is just too good in this spot for where Saint Denis is at. I do think Saint Denis is another situation where he's a victim of hype. Fans really pushed him. All right. And he manages distance. Rufy manages distance like an expert. You got to give it to the guy. He has nasty high and spinning kicks with great timing. But there's not a ton of tape on his grappling. In his Contender Series fight, I think it was, he had 6 takedown defenses. And he is with the Fighting Nerds. You saw what Cabral was doing. You saw what what's his face did. I always draw blanks when I'm on the mic. Against Bryce Mitchell. You saw what he did in his grappling, and they're all training together. They're with each other every day. I'm going to just assume. You do have to kind of guess here. But I am just going to Silva. You saw what Silva did to Bryce Mitchell. So I'm going to assume he does have very good takedown defense, and this fight stays on the feet. And if it does, just because of how slow BSD's hands are, his lack of head movement, what Poirier did to him, what Moicano did to him, where his chin's at, yeah, I'm going Rufy, and the odds really aren't that bad. So I do have a play on that I like a lot. And then this one's gonna be short because like Bedtime MMA says, plot armor, plot armor, plot armor. Okay, I'll be completely honest. I didn't watch a ton of film because I'm at the point where the UFC signed with the WWE and there's some plot armor going on. All right, you know how you just feel somebody's a winner. I feel like Barallo is just a winner. It doesn't matter if the other guy's better than him. No amount of film will justify how he wins. He beat Cannonier in the striking realm. He's beating grapplers in the grappling realm. It's almost like he has plot armor, all right? So I feel like he's just a winner. I feel really weird betting against him. His grappling is elite. He's on an absolute tear. His striking is official. He comes with a game plan. You know the Fighting Nerds. Say what you want about him. They have their game plans down to a science, and they stick to it. He has very high fight IQ, some of the best I've ever seen, and he has more ways to win. He's a better grappler. He's not a better boxer or striker, but he's very, very good on the feet, and he's in the gym, and he's training all the time. And you see who's the champ in that division. It's Khamzat. Who do you want to be pushed for that fight? Who has a better chance of beating Khamzat? It's Kai. because of his grappling ability. So I'm going Kai all day, honestly, and I'm pretty comfortable with it. And we'll see what happens. So again, thank you for tuning in. If you want to see all of my official bets, keep in mind these are just picks. These are who I think will win. A lot of times you can't bet who's going to win. You got to take over, unders, or a prop. So if you want to see my official bets, first week is free. Look me up on Bird Dog MMA on Patreon. And also look me up on TikTok, all right? Bird Dog MMA. Appreciate y'all listening, man. And, have a great week.